being escorted into the ring by Nurse Mercy and Dr. Cerebellum, the unpredictable Jacklyn Hyde.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Getcha! I getcha! I said I rule the world, and I meant it. I meant it. That's right. I rule the world. Nay!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mike Grand Show, and today's special guest is from WOW Women of Wrestling, Jacklyn Hyde. Hey Jacklyn, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good, we're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So you were one of our favorite characters on WOW Women of Wrestling. You played Jacklyn Hyde. Can you tell us how you got involved in wrestling?
Absolutely. I'd been a little bit of an actor or, trying out for parts before that. I was working with autistic people as my kind of main bread and butter. The industry, we know that not all of us are working full time and paying the bills on acting. So I'd done a little bit of stuff before WOW Women of Wrestling. Like I'd appeared on the Extreme Gong Show a couple times. I'd done a little singing, a musical theater. And so every week I would scour the Backstage West. That was sort of my tool. And one day I saw an ad in Backstage West. Let me silence this thing. Ooh, I'm so busy. So I'm like, come on. So I saw Backstage West and it was an ad for Women of Wrestling. Not one of these that got it through an agent. So then I just mailed in my headshot the old-fashioned way. Mailed in a headshot. Probably about a week or so later, I got a call that there was a big audition. I don't know, it wasn't an open call, but maybe some people had been, because I know one gal had been scouted at the Staples Center that I went up against. We could talk about that later if you want. But anyway, I decided, yes, I got invited to show up to the big audition, meaning there were a lot of girls there. And this was very informative. And this was fun because I went all out. I dressed sort of camouflage bikini top, but one girl informed me later that it was just a bra. My faux pas. So I showed up in a bra, a camouflage bra, and some cami shorts. And I had like paint on my chest, something about being crazy painted on my chest. I don't think it was on my face, but I wish I had taken photographs that day. But the one I kind of connected with a little was that day because was Easy Rider that day. It was a good open call, but yeah, that's how I got my start. And I knew I wanted definitely to do this. And from there, they said, invite us back to come and start to try out physically and athletically. So and I'd had a little bit of a background.
Yeah, so you knew it was going to be wrestling. So you just mentioned you had a little bit of a background. So what kind of background did you have that would pertain to it?
Okay, and so it wasn't gymnastics like a lot of the girls. So I had to play a little bit of catch up and with that in that regard. So my background had been karate, kickboxing was Ultimate Championship fighter Zane Frazier. I'd been almost 2 years with some Kempo karate with him, and I'd done judo in both Los Angeles City colleges and Valley colleges, and I won my judo tournament at Valley College. That was a big day for me to win that tournament, very big. And so, in a sense, yeah, my background was a lot of, a little bit of fighting and prepping for that and getting tough. And I've been working out a lot too on my own, a lot of strength training, a lot of cardio. So that was great. And I had begun to do little I should say little, but some stunts in stage plays and low budget films, like rolling across the floor in a fist fight, flipping over a table. I think even in Babylon 5 once as a background, there was a bar fight. So a lot of fun, taking these punches and, like there's a lady that's only 4 feet tall and she punches me and I, give her the honor of really acting like she's killing me.
So with your background from judo and all the other things that you had been doing outside of wrestling and then transitioning to wrestling, what was like the main difference for you? What did you really have to learn about the wrestling world that was different from the other?
Well, you're more aerial. So you're right. Absolutely. I mean, I had some strength built up from the fighting, but the difference was that with the wrestling, we were first taught basic moves like flipping backwards. And the trick was you had to do it safely, flipping backwards and forwards. So it was more like tucking your chin. And so some of the, I would say, mild gymnastics began where it's not gymnastics, but there's fundamentals. Like when you fall over, you're gonna protect your head. And at first that was very challenging for me. So we were taught basic throws of ourselves. And then at first I wasn't getting it, like falling on my behind. But the day that I did get it and I was lifting air, you have to get air. Actually, that protects you to get air. If you jump without any of that height, you're actually in more danger. So my first jump backwards where I executed correctly, it goes the positive power of the positive energy that all the gals actually cheered for me. And that was a great positive moment. Unfortunately, back then, I mean, I did recognize that it was positive, but I wasn't that positive back then. I tried, but a lot of depression. But when we're younger, a lot of us face our challenges. But yes, I learned some fundamentals, very beginning fundamentals of gymnastics and wrestling about picking up air. That's actually how you protect yourself because you have time to tuck your chin to protect your head. So.
And who were the main trainers for you? Was it Selena Majors and Thug that trained you, or was it somebody else?
That is correct. For wrestling, it would have been Selena Majors and Thug. I loved Thug a lot. She was just so sweet. But yeah, they both definitely had a hand in doing most of the training,
And in the beginning there, when you were just meeting the girls, were there any girls that you knew from other auditions or outside of WOW, or did you really meet everyone there that day that you knew that got cast on that show?
Yeah, most of the auditions I would try out for before that were from open calls that I gleaned from Backstage West. So I didn't have a tight inner circle as far as the auditions, the A-list auditions. Woo! So I didn't know anyone. It's been upgraded by the host. Okay, judges, click OK. It's saying, okay, it was saying that the meeting's been upgraded. Okay, yeah, so I don't believe that I knew anyone outside. If I think of it, I'll let you know, but I don't think that I did.
And who were the girls that you naturally bonded to in the beginning? And was there any girl that maybe was a little more experienced in wrestling that maybe mentored you along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I probably picked up some pointers from some people from the beginning because during training, and pardon me, my allergies might act up a little bit here because, but in the beginning, we weren't just, and this was throughout all training, it was we would be put against just about everyone. And there's probably just, I had a chance to train physically with every girl. I probably even, you know, went in the ring with Phantom, and I believe dealt a lot of pain, and slam dunk, and Loca when she did get there. I knew that Loca, we connected because she lived in my neighborhood near Pacoima. It was Arleta, Pacoima, which wasn't all that rosebud neighborhood, but I connected a lot, usually with the bad girls. But I also enjoyed Roxy Powers a lot. She was just a wonderful spirit. She came a little later as well. Very beautiful girl. I remember we jogged through the Inglewood Cemetery, me, Roxy Powers, and Summer. Wait, no, yes, Summer. No, who was Bobby Summer, who came later because at first it was another Summer, but she left. And then came Bobby Billard. And one day, me and Bobby and Roxy, we all jogged through the Inglewood Cemetery, which you probably know was close to the Great Western Forum. And some of the girls thought, you guys are crazy jogging through a cemetery, but come on. So
that's something Jacklyn Hyde would have done.
Probably was my idea.
So can you tell us how the character of Jacklyn Hyde got created?
Yeah, I believe that David McLean and his writer, I remember the name of the writer, which I really...
Would it have been Steve Blance by chance?
Probably, yeah. So they, I believe, both created it. I don't know if it was more David McLean or Steve, but from what I'd heard, they'd come up with it, the name. It was a great name from the onset. I recognized that. I believe they almost handed me a name that was already famous, but hey, I worked hard for it too. So, I mean, just case in point, look through the annals of history and we know all the famous case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And there's even a musical. Woo! But yeah, they created it and I loved it right away. I grew with the character and believe I was able to add a lot to it. I heard, I mean, after my vignette was done at an abandoned hospital in the valley, very scary hospital. I believe David McLean, and I'll take out the expletives, was kept repeating, it's a bleepity bleepity vignette. It's a bleepity vignette. Like I bleepity love it. Like I think I remember that he loved it so much, and we all watched it together. So that was exciting that I did get a vignette. Even though I didn't have that many matches, and not every girl had a bunch of matches. I think I made up for it in having a vignette, having my own strong presence. I believe one of the episodes that I was in was actually a smash hit. There was an advertisement through in the middle of one of my matches with Caliente, which is always a good sign. Here I am stroking my own shame. Shameless. Okay, that doesn't mean every other woman was amazing. They were so amazing.
And you got to remember too, there was so many girls, you know, with only so much airtime. But what WoW did is, you know, you filmed a couple episodes in one night, correct? When you did it, and then it would go over a course of, you know, several weeks on the air when it actually played out on air.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of the girls did a couple. If there was a day of filming, it was only one for myself. But you're right, we did. It was like a 12-hour day. It was exciting, and they would slate a bunch of matches to all be filmed. It was such a long day that dinner would be served later. I remember having spaghetti night. Imagine eating a big plate of spaghetti before a match.
And then you did have a couple people that went to the ring with you, little sidekicks there.
Yeah.
Nurse Mercy and Dr. Sarah Bellum.
That's right. I loved them.
And you had Destiny. So can you tell us about them?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I named her or they named her. Maybe I did tell them her name. I found her somewhere. Hopefully it wasn't one of those antique shops and she's not as haunted as some of those movie characters. But yeah, I think that one of the investors' wives was not Nurse Mercy, but Sarah Bellum. Yeah, she was a wonderful woman. I loved being escorted by her. We had a great rapport. Just a wonderful lady. It just felt good being escorted by people. I loved it. Head rush.
And you had a great group of opponents that we're going to talk about now too. So
Awesome.
you made your debut at the perfect time of the year, Halloween.
Yep.
Brought a pumpkin to the ring, and that match was against Boom Boom. That was your
Yeah,
first match, which you defeated Boom Boom. Can you tell us a little bit what it was like working with her in that match?
that was wonderful. So yeah, that was another gal that I really connected with. Very sweet, very kind, big heart. And by the way, to make our match even better, because we play with the audience, that helps us. She had so much support on our first match. So I don't mean half, but quite like I heard there was like 500 friends and family there at the Western Forum for her. So that, of course, makes it all better. And I would round up people myself. I didn't have family in LA, but I would round up who I could with friends. I lived in Silmar, San Fernando at the time. But yeah, Boom Boom was amazing training with her. And I think that's one of the gals that got discovered, ironically, at the Staples Center. I don't know if I'm giving up secrets, but yeah, she was a wonderful, and training her was great. And that match was awesome. I had pure adrenaline being gurneyed out into the ring area, coming up with my pumpkin and screaming. And I love that moment. And wrestling with her was wonderful. It really was.
Then the next match you had was against Caliente. Can you tell us a little bit about that match?
That was wonderful too. And definitely with Caliente, it was another great connection. She was a wonderful person, just a great gal. She was just very kind as well. And so I had the honor, privilege of wrestling a lot of wonderful people and great dancer. And then I remember that match, she taught me a little bit of dance moves. That was wonderful. So yeah, training with her was great. I remember she wasn't crazy about her outfit at first. Like, oh, what woman wants a tight orange, shorts around her ass? But I'm like, hey, if you're built really nice, and she was, and all of us were, so what's wrong with having some tight orange shorts? Men and women, and it's okay. Let it shine, girl. But yeah, we had a good time, and she was wonderful wrestling with. And I loved choke her with her skirt, and it turned on her. At first I'm all happy she's teaching me some dance moves, and then I had to get nasty.
Yeah, and at the end, unfortunately, you lost in a submission hold where Jacklyn Hyde really came out as yes, no, whether or not you wanted to submit.
Yeah, that was a great submission hold. That was wonderful. That's actually, I think, because of that, that's one of my most popular matches because of that hold. And I love the fact that that was probably one of for me, a fancier schmancier, even though I know it's basic, but to be able to be hurled in the air like that was fun.
Yep. And then you also wrestled Becky, the farmer's daughter. Tell us about that match.
And that was amazing too, because we know for fact that gal was an amazing, amazing gymnast and wrestler. She actually, I think, helped to teach some stuff, as did Danger and probably Riot and other gals. But she helped me to protect myself, because there was a move in that match that I had a lot of trouble with in the beginning, a lot. And she was bigger, meaning taller, and you know what I mean. But a taller gal than me, and so catching her in the crossbody at first, I was hitting my head, and we knew that I couldn't keep doing that. But then as she, helped to train for it, I realized just tuck a damn chin over her shoulder or whatever. And then it became just awesome. And I don't know whether you knew that I kind of had a little glitch during the beginning of that match, but she's such an amazing gymnast that she more than made up for it, and they helped to edit that over. But I did, it was such a challenging for me, the move, one of the first moves, that boom, that. But yeah, she's amazing. I have nothing but respect for her. I think I actually got upset after that match. And that was actually a landmark for me, because before then I hadn't really displayed sad emotions. They'd seen crazy emotions, but after that match, I was really kind of upset. And she was surprising, just like, hey, you're okay. And I saw her have some compassion. And that to me was a landmark moment for me to actually, hey, it's okay to be human and shed some tears. I thought that was it. I thought I'd be cut off the team off that match. But it's also one of my best matches, because my fear and anger became real in the match. Like, I remember after her kicking her out of the ring, that my eyes kind of glazed over, and I'm like kind of looking back and forth, and that was real. It was actually real. So, it was a great match.
And then another match you had was against Hammer and Heather Steele, where you thought you won the match at the end, but in reality, she had her foot on the rope.
Yeah, that was a great match too. And that was another great gal, there's just a real fire plug, a spark plug. And she came a little later. She was originally blonde. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but they did a lot of people's hair for I don't know if you heard of all these makeovers. Not myself. They figured she has crazy hair, we'll let her keep her crazy hair. But yeah, what a great gal. I liked Hammer and Heather Steele, and we had some interesting moves. She was a little shorter, but it was all great because I've worked with tall, short, my height, but just a real spark plug. It was a great gal.
And then the next match happened at the WoW pay-per-view, WoW Unleashed, and it was against Randy Rara, who was making her return to the ring after suffering eye injury at the hands of Lana Starr. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
That was great too. And it took me by storm, because I believe, she'd been out for a while, and then to suddenly see her, I'm like, what? You threw me for a loop, Randy Rara. And everyone knew I wasn't crazy about cheerleaders back then. It's like the anathema to me, because I actually had a bad attitude about cheerleaders back in the day. I was mean, and I didn't like them, and probably missed out on some high school glory because I was in a terrible shell and I hated cheerleaders. It was not nice. But yeah, she was great to wrestle with, just a great gal. It was a good time in the ring. And, I tried my darndest to get the better of her, but that Randy Rara and her Cyclops situation.
Yeah, because if I'm correct, she was actually on tour overseas for Pop Stars, right?
Yeah, I respected that because she was dancing. I developed a little bit of love for dancing. I didn't think I was a great dancer yet, but the fact that someone would be, I always admire people who are great dancers. So I started to also train in dancing. Yeah, I love dancing. I've trained in hip hop, jazz, a little bit of ballroom and salsa. Yeah, and surprisingly hip hop. I know people don't think that I look like I could do some hip hop, but I can.
And then your final match you won. So you started your career with a win and you ended your career with WoW with a win. And it was against Patty Pizzazz.
Patty Pizzazz. Yeah, loved it. I mean, that was a great match. I had a little bit of I don't remember where I had a swollen nose. No, I think it was with Hammer and Heather Steele, or with Becky's match. My nose was swollen because I wasn't executing moves correctly. But no, yeah, with Patty Pizzazz, just wonderful. I mean, it was exciting to go out a winner like that. I mean, even when I remember when Becky, she before the match was going on, she was like, "Oh, are you winning or losing?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna win." And she just kind of gives me a high five. You know, that's a big deal. So I'm like, "Cool." You know, took me by surprise a little. Once again, one of these reality moments of people aren't all evil, right? But back then, I probably thought 90 to 98% of the human race was actually really evil. So it was a kind of a bad way of living. But yeah, that was great, that match with Patty Pizzazz. And I kind of also threw in some dialogue. And I was happy that they enjoyed it and let the dialogue stay in.
Yep. And
Yeah.
was there anybody in WoW that you really wished, if it had continued, that you would have had the chance to wrestle, that you didn't get a chance to wrestle?
Yeah, I mean, I know it wasn't a tag team match, but I would have enjoyed being, well, they're bad girls, but maybe me tag teaming with another bad girl and caged heat against two good girls. The ones that I kind of really wanted to fight was Summer, no, no, not Summer, uh, Paradise, and sorry, there's something on my Paradise and
Farah?
yes, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to have my chance. Yeah. Um, but as far as other good girls, you know, Roxy would have been great because we did have a great rapport. We would have made the fight look really great too. She's a wonderful gal. I used to have one of her exercise videos. Just wonderful gal. But and even the beach patrol, once again, if I'd been paired off with someone, I know I was a singles, but they were sweet and kind. Summer was so wonderful. You know, I guess she seemed glamorous with a lot of modeling opportunities, but she was really a very down to earth, sweet gal too, you know. But yeah, I mean, and then also, what's the other beach patrol? She was a nice gal.
Andy.
Sandy, yeah, very nice gal. So yeah, I really enjoyed just about everybody there. It was wonderful to work with, and I would have loved to wrestle any one of them extra.
If you didn't play the character of Jacklyn Hyde, looking at all the other girls on the roster and all the crazy characters that there were, was there another character that you're like, I would have liked to have, if I could, I would have done this one well?
Well, in retrospect, Riot. But I think at the time, I maybe to have a full on go out there with dialogue because she had much more dialogue. And at the time, like I said, I had a lot of struggles emotionally in my life. So, you know, unfortunately, at the time, I couldn't carry a lot of dialogue all at the same time. But in retrospect, yeah, I could. That was a heavy metal girl. I mean, I love all kinds of music, but at the core of it, I was raised in Alaska. I love ballad rock. I mean, not just I don't like death metal, but she'd come out there with her bat and stuff, rock and roll and heavy metal. Um, Besides that, yeah, also the caged heat. I've always connected with caged heat because I'm not saying anything about jail, but with my background and my attitude, you know, let's just say cage or, you know, the jail, some people predicted jail for me at the time. Okay. And even a little later, some people predicted jail for me, which isn't a good thing. They no longer predict that for me. But yeah, I did connect with the fact that they are caged heat, you know, that would have been maybe as a third party, a third, you know, gal that's sort of in jail too, you know, that would have been awesome.
Did you have a favorite move to do in the ring?
You know, I think now or I would have executed Jacklyn Splitter better. Once again, that one was where you need to get a lot of air. And it's funny how with some parts I would get air. Like there's a move that was amazing that I did with Patty Pizzazz. That I don't know if you remember, I ran back and then I ran to her shoulders. She was on the floor, ran to her shoulders and flipped over. And I'm thinking I had no gymnastics background, but then I guess by that time, because it was my last match, I'd learned a little something. So that to me was one of my most my best things that I executed, because in all essence, it was like a somersault, just landed differently. The Jacklyn splitter, I really, in retrospect, I kind of cringed, like, oh, you didn't execute that with enough air. But I loved the somersault off of Patty Pizzazz. Um, I did like flipping or, splashing off ropes. That was fun. Excuse me, little allergies. And I think, well, someone did the crotch bump on me. Oh, that hurt so bad. But yeah, just the snap mares were fun. Yeah, it was all just great moves. I would have loved to do some more, but that was a lot of fun.
And now, would you say you yourself as Vanya, are you more Jacklyn or are you more Hyde?
Well, I don't know if this will come as a shocker. I mean, I am both. But in the real world, I have to be nice. And I have to put on, I mean, Jacklyn is the face. But when it is Hyde, it's more like not screaming and crazy. It's more of like a protective thing, because we are living, okay, in a dangerous world, more or less. And so, it's kind of definitely a fuse of both characters, but really to protect myself, I still want to have the Hyde veneer when I'm not, when I'm outside, because, all the crazy crap going on and I want to protect myself. But it is both. Obviously, when I'm at work, I'm more Jacklyn, but she's not overly sweet, sugar and spice or anything. Just more like a put together woman.
And can you tell us, what did you do after WoW, and what has life been like for you since?
I did a series of short films. I did a really good short film shot at UCLA called "You're a Good Man, Charlie Kane," on Citizen, kind of loosely based on Citizen Kane, which is obviously one of a great film. But that was great because there was music in it, and I got to sing and dance in this short film, and it had a big budget. Some short films actually do. So yeah, I appeared in a series of shorts, also a pilot called The Big Red Cotton Show that had Sally Kirkland in it, was done by Honky Stomp Productions, and some other shorts. And then I started producing my own cable access shows throughout Los Angeles. Sometimes I think in 1 month I had 15 airings throughout LA, live and taped. And the cable access shows actually did pretty good. I had Pride of Sophie and the Heart Group, so we were kind of at the forefront of reality, and we filmed shit on stuff on the street. I'm sorry, fighting and going crashing parties. I remember one gal at Women of Wrestling whose party I actually did crash. I did not put that footage on cable access because I didn't get her permission, but I did crash someone's party. Somebody, a jailbird, and she was kind of like, Jacklyn crashing my party. I remember that. So, but yeah, I was filming clips of it too, and I was just all gone. I was gone, which isn't good, but those crazy days. So yeah, did some cable access shows. I did actually a lot, but then around 2003, my area became so crime ridden. Someone tried to break into my home. That's when, and I didn't know the person. Okay, just disclaimer. It was sounds like a song, the son of a preacher. And he tried to break in. There was a helicopter deployed all night long. It was insane. And then I made the decision a little after that to get the heck out of Dodge for a while, go back to Alaska. So it was kind of tough, but it was a new start once again. And then a few years after that, I got to appear on a reality show in Alaska, Wild West Guns. So I have done some appearances in the intervening years on a few reality shows, which has been good.
Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play the lightning round, where I'm going to ask you a couple things and you tell me which one you prefer.
Okay.
So the first one is Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman?
Superman!
American Gladiators or roller games?
Well, you're not putting it against American Ninja Warrior, but yeah, I don't think I saw the roller thing. So the American Gladiators, I was a kid.
Okay. Peaches or plums?
Probably Peaches.
Better TV show that you prefer, The Neighborhood or Bob Hart's Abishola?
Oh, I don't know if I've seen those.
You haven't
Sorry.
seen them? Okay, that's okay. Do you prefer Twix or Reese's Peanut Butter Cups?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Which sitcom do you prefer from back in the day? Family Ties or The Hogan Family, which was also called Valerie and Valerie's Family at one point?
Family Ties for sure.
Air hockey or ice hockey?
Ice hockey.
Garfield or Heathcliff?
Garfield.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Charmed?
I like both, but probably Buffy a little better.
S'mores or cookies and cream?
Cookies and cream.
And National Geographic's Brain Games or Netflix's Brainchild?
National Geographic.
And a little bit of trivia there is I've been on both of those shows, so you guys can check me out on them.
Really? Oh, that's
yes, I was on Brain Games. I think it's season 5, I want to say episode 8, called Peer Pressure.
Okay.
And Netflix's Brainchild, episode 3, Superheroes. So there's my
Okay.
plug for the show. Not to take away from Jacklyn Hyde.
Okay. No, I want to see it.
So thank you so much for joining us here today. What would you like to say to all the fans who are watching today?
Roar! Hang in there. I just love is a good message. I'm not trying to go overly board sugar, but love is one of the most wonderful messages we can do as a human species right now. Love. And also to the fans, like you're saying, thank you. Really, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. I'm so happy that I have some support from fans. I'm really happy, and I really appreciate that so much.
And is there any way the fans can contact you if they're interested in contacting you?
Absolutely. You can find me, Vanya Marinkovic, on Facebook, just Vanya, and Marinkovic spelled as it sounds, or Instagram. I think I'm Vanya Marinkovic. And my IMDb page too is Basilica Vanya Marinkovic. But as far as, because it's hard to contact with that one, so either Facebook or Instagram. It's so funny because on Twitter, there's a Vanya Marinkovic, and he's a Serbian basketball player, much younger than me, but we've tweeted before, because originally in Serbia, I'm half Serbian Greek, but I am with the Y is a J. So in a sense, and it's funny that he's an athlete too right now, but we've got the same name, and I've been an athlete, and he is, and I am still an athlete, but in a different way, but he's an athlete. So if you do go to Twitter, make sure you differentiate the Vanya to the Vanya Marinkovic. So it might be Basilica Vanya on Twitter. So I would try Facebook, would be the easiest, or Instagram.
Okay, and we'll post those links up at the end of the show for everybody, so we have the official links so everybody can check you out.
Okay, if you want me to send them over, I will.
Okay. Thank you so much again for joining us here today. I'm so happy that you joined us.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
And thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.